Thank you, Coach Reid, for joining me today. Coach Reid is currently the offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach at Bowie State University. Coach, for those who don't know who you are, can you kind of give a little background about how and kind of you ended up being the offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach and kind of the path you took to get there?
Of course. Well, my career started out at Bowie State. I played there from 2009 through 2012. After my senior season, I joined the staff as a student assistant, working with the quarterbacks, Jared Johnson. Then from there, I left and went up to McDaniel College for 2 years as a graduate assistant. And I coached quarterbacks there as well, ran my own room, just, got thrown into the fire. Just one of those situations where, you got to learn on the fly. And you know, living on your own away from home. So you kind of learn about yourself. And then from there, came back to Bowie State and been there coaching quarterbacks ever since. Then this past season was my first as the OC. The OC before he transitioned on to North Carolina Central. I took over, was promoted, and we ended up going 11-0 in conference, winning the championship, and losing in the first round of the playoffs.
What kind of advice would you give to? I mean, you have kind of done the grind and worked your way up as a quarterbacks coach. What kind of advice would you give to a young quarterbacks coach on kind of just, I mean, day one, first job? I mean, what advice would you give them?
Well, I always continue to try to get better at your craft. Everybody knows something different. Everybody was taught something different. But so just reaching out to as many people as possible, networking. I'm learning from some of the people who have more tenure in the profession. But that's what I pretty much did. I watched a lot of YouTube. I clinic with a lot of guys. I spend time with guys on Zoom, just trying to learn different techniques and things that I can teach my guys or things that I can add to my game. So just always, one, be humble, and just continue to perfect your craft.
Now you mentioned as you kind of start off, you guys had a lot of success this past year. What would you attribute that success to?
I would just say a culture, the program. Coach Wilson, he does a great job. That's our head coach. He does a great job with just making sure that everything kind of stays the same year to year. Of course, we're going to have personnel changes and things of that nature, but as far as the culture of the program, I think it's been built, and it's something that was going to be there for a while. And we had like I said, we had a change in staff, with an OC transitioning on, but I was already in the system. So I knew the system. I played in the system, so it was an easy transition for the guys because the system didn't change. Of course, there are going to be tweaks, things that I want to do differently. I think we ran the ball a lot more, with me calling plays, but still the same plays. And it's a cultural thing. The players understand. They bought into it. They know what it takes to win. We've been winning now for some time, so that's all they know.
Kind of like we mentioned, this was the your first year as offense coordinators. What were the biggest lessons you learned that, I mean, looking back, it's stuff you either should have known or you had no idea about going into being an offense coordinator?
I think the biggest thing is management, management of people, and being able to delegate. You can't do everything by yourself. I thought I was going to be Superman, spend you know 15 hours in the office and get everything done on my own, and it's just impossible. It's too many things to do. You have to watch film, you have to game plan, you have to script, you have to plan practices. It's way too much. So you got to be able to delegate, give responsibilities to different guys. And the great thing that about it, Bowie, we have some great assistants. I have some great assistants. And I'm able to give them responsibilities, and they're able to complete tasks and just help me out, and I can really focus on the big picture instead of worrying about doing every single last task.
Now there you mentioned kind of practice and scripting. What practice situations do you practice heavily? Are you do you work third and long a lot, inside run, goal line? What are the periods you kind of emphasize and script heavily throughout the season?
Well, we touch everything throughout the week. So we um, start out the week with of course normal downs. We do a third down day. We do a red zone segment. We do a goal line short yardage segment. We do a 4 minute segment. But the thing that we probably touch on the most is probably 2 minutes. We practice that. we do pretty much a live 2 minute segment. That's one of our competition periods throughout the week. We probably touch on that maybe once a day. So we practice 2 minutes a lot. However, it just for us gives us the ability to practice our tempo. We're a tempo team. We want to go fast. We want to go as fast as possible. So we want to practice that. So 2 minute drill for us, it's like our regular offense. So that's something we touch on probably every single day of practice.
Now, I always wonder this with high tempo teams. With being a high tempo team, when you need to slow down the game towards the end, because you're up a lot or even up a little, is that problems? Is that more difficult? Is play calling more challenging in those situations? Is it a little difficult on your players because they want to go fast? Like, what does that look like for you guys?
So anything that you practice, you're going to get good at. And the things that you don't practice, you're not going to be as good at. So, like I said, we'll have a 4 minute drill a day, but we don't do it as much as we do 2 minute drill. So sometimes we get in situations where we're trying to close out a game, try to run out the clock, and guys are still going fast because it's their nature. That's what they do every day. So it's just about emphasis, telling those guys slow down. So what we do as a staff is we send the play in slow. All right, so at that point in time, it's hold the play. Let some of the clock burn, hold the play. We don't huddle. That's just one thing we just don't do. We don't. So sometimes we'll just be at the line, just standing there, and we'll send the play in. With maybe 20, 15 seconds left. That way we can just get the ball snapped and waste as much time as possible.
Okay, coach. Now, when scouting, I mean, what are your areas of emphasis or areas that you like to target or look for? And then kind of building off that and make this kind of a two-parter is how much do you self-scout throughout the season? And do you do it or does somebody else on your staff do it?
Okay, so for the first part, some of the things I look for is I start out on it's whenever I can get the film. So if I can get it Saturday night or if I can get it Sunday morning, I want to watch like whole games. I'm trying to see what guys stand out. Who are the guys on the defense? Like who are the guys we should be concerned with? Then from there we start worrying about scheme. What are they? What is their base defense? What are some of the things that they're going to do in critical situations? So then now we start talking about like down and distance. Are they a heavy third down blitz team? What are some of their favorite coverages? When are you going to get those coverages? Are you going to get it versus 2x2? You're going to get it versus 3x1? What are their go-tos on first down, normal downs? Are they going to just be vanilla? Do they like to bring pressure on early downs? So just things like that. But that's all broken down through cut-ups. And then once you watch the cut-ups, you get an idea of, what they do, some type of patterns you pick up on the defensive coordinator's tendencies. And I'm sure they do the same for us. For the second part, me and Coach Sewell, that's our defensive coordinator, we definitely talk. And he's a little older in the game than I am as far as being a coordinator, and he definitely self-scouts me a lot. And he probably self-scouts me a lot more than I do for him because he can just pick up on certain tendencies and things that I probably won't see. So, sometimes he'll just call me late at night and say, what do you think about this? Or, anytime you line up in this formation, I already know this play is coming. You might want to switch it up. And it also, we get, other coaches on the staff, like offensive coaches, like our running backs coach, receiver coach, O-line guy, tight ends coach, all those guys, they give suggestions as well of things to do, just to try to throw off tendencies. And then sometimes what I'll do is I'll go back and watch games, early on in the year, if I have any free time, and just kind of try to find ways to build off of things that we're already doing, making it more sequential so that, it's always a counter, attached for each play. We're a big inside zone team, so off of inside zone, we have a million different plays, and we can pass off of it, we can RPO off of it. We have different tags that allow us to run the quarterback. So just being able to, throw off tendencies and build off of, your base plays.
Now, on game day, are you in the box or on the field?
I'm a box guy.
Okay. Since you're in the box, what are you looking for? And then, I mean, who do you have since you're in the box communicate on field with your quarterback?
So I'm a box guy, so what I'm looking for up top is I want to see the shell. I want to see what they're doing as far as the shell. Are they rotating safeties? What type of box are they giving us as far as number count for the run game? I can see all of that from up top. It's hard to see from the field. What defensive fronts are they giving us? We do a lot of check with me at the line of scrimmage, so we'll check our run plays to different techniques. So just making sure the quarterback is doing all those right things, make sure we see the same things, make sure plays are run to the right side. As far as who's on the field, our receivers coach, Coach Washington, he's pretty much my communicator. So I'm speaking through him. I'm speaking to him through the headset, and he's relaying to the quarterback exactly what message that I want him to give to the quarterbacks. But he's a high energy guy. That's just who he is. So it's perfect for him because he can, he get the guys going. When we may be sputtering, we may need a pick me up. He's the guy that can get those guys going. And then sometimes, in between series, we just want to, get all the guys together and just talk to them. Tell them sometimes maybe good job on the previous drive. We might have had a scoring drive, or maybe we had a 3 and out. Just getting those guys encouraged to get back out there and know we got to score points on his next drives, and he does a great job with that. Also, our O-line coach, he's responsible for his guys as well. Any adjustments that need to be made. We're seeing any type of D-line movement, or they may be bringing a blitz that we didn't see on film before. He's down there with his boy. He's drawing that up as well. So, we have some pretty good guys, some very knowledgeable coaches on our sideline, so we're able to make adjustments on the fly.
Awesome, Coach. And then this varies by school, but how much adjusting you throughout the game? Is it more halftime oriented? And then typically how big are your adjustments week to week?
So, we make adjustments on the fly. Like I said, it's all about communicating. If somebody sees it, it has to be communicated to me or to whoever. Like if it's something going on up front, you want to definitely have a conversation with the O-line coach, let them know. They might be doing, slaying the D-line, or it could be anything. Just we have to make adjustments based on that. So I think it's making sure that you have clear communication throughout the game and everybody's on the same page. As far as halftime adjustments, if it's anything that we see that needs to be adjusted, we'll make those adjustments at halftime as well. But usually when we see it, we try to make sure that we make that adjustment in between drives while the defense is out there so that we can go out there and execute on the next drive.
Awesome, Coach. And then kind of before we start wrapping up here, and I've been curious to ask a lot of people this, and I know my buddy did for the Michigan High School Football Coaches Association as well. What have you done, or what have you been looking at to help improve your program this off season, whether it be on or off the field? What have been the things that you've kind of been looking at it, whether it be, like I said, off the field, stuff for offense, maybe things defenses are due? What has kind of been your kind of focal point this off season?
I've just been trying to get better. Just trying to learn as much as possible. I've been meeting with another offensive coordinator. We get together every Thursday, and we share ideas with each other. I'm just trying to learn. Of course, I've been on a lot of defensive Zooms. Because of the pandemic, we've been a lot of clinics going on. So anytime I can get on a defensive Zoom and try to learn what type of new things they're doing defensively, any new trends going on defensively, I'm there. Like right now, the big trend is the tight front. I have the 3 down. So just trying to find, what's the weakness in the tight front. I'm pretty sure we're going to see that in conference this year because that's the new in vogue defense. So just preparing for that, being one step ahead. But as far as I'll be honest with you, I think COVID did us somewhat of a service because now we can communicate better with our guys. We don't actually have to be in front of them. We don't have to actually be sitting down in the meeting room to meet or go over certain things. We know new ways of, meeting and communicating with our guys. So I think going forward, being able to use technology and being able to communicate with the guys and just being able to teach, from not necessarily having to, meet with guys 10 hours a day or, have guys on campus all the time. Sometimes we can go home and they can go home or you can go home and we can still have meetings and you can still spend time with your family because, family is very important. Of course, spend a lot of time away from their family. So, just being able to be, remote and still being able to get some football work done. I think that's very positive.
I agree 100%, Coach. And you kind of touched on something there. I kind of want to. I've started to ask some people as well. Is how much, in your opinion, knock on wood, as things start returning normal, hopefully this fall, do you plan and does your staff plan on continuing using technology going into, say, not this season but next season? How much of that do you think you guys are going to continue to use? And I mean, what do you think the long term effects of that are?
Well, I think it's permanent. I think it's permanent. I think it's going to be a new norm. We've already talked about it. I think this is going to be the way of the future. Meeting on, well, we use Microsoft Teams. I know we're on Zoom right now, but we use Microsoft Teams. So meeting on Microsoft Teams, it may look like that from now on. Like we may still meet in person, we may still practice, but like on certain days we may, go home and we have a team meeting at 8 o'clock or 7:30. You know, I think I think it's perfect. I think it allows you to be able to still get your work done and be able to be home and around your family and things of that nature. So, of course, the way that it came about is tragic. We have a lot of people losing their lives, and it's really, really, it's really a different time right now. So, but beyond that, I think it's a lot good that has came from as far as from a technology standpoint and ways to get better.
And then before we go, Coach, do you have any final thoughts on anything you want to personally touch on or kind of go into more detail about something we've talked on?
Well, I just want to thank you for interviewing me and allowing us to talk a little bit about our program. If any guys are out there and they want to connect with me, my Twitter is my first name Tyrae Reid. So just hit me up on Twitter. We can connect if you want to get in and get on the Zoom and clinic a little bit, talk some football. My email is also treid@bowiestate.edu. If you have any players out there that you think could play at our level or have any interest in playing HBCU football, be sure to send them our way. We'll evaluate them and get it back to you.
Awesome, Coach. I thank you, and I wish you and your program luck this season, and I wish you and your family health and safety.
Thanks for having me on.
You're welcome, Coach.